Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Madison and I am uploading a video today that has actually been like over 7 months in the making. I recorded the very beginning of my treatment, and not every time, but a lot of times, like when I went to my doctor's appointments, I went ahead and just filmed a little snippet of what I was doing, what I was thinking, how it was all going, and I decided to go ahead and make a video that compiled the main snippets and clips from kind of the like important parts of my journey. The last clip I have is from right after my surgery, so I didn't get everything. It's mostly the very first appointment I went to, my oncofertility appointment, and then my surgery. I'm going to give a little bit of context for each clip, but yeah, I just wanted to make it all into a video because I've been holding on to these clips for quite a long time and definitely wanted to share them with you and give you a little bit of insight into how I was feeling during these. I don't talk too much about how I'm feeling. I think I'm just like still obviously very much in the processing phase at that point. It's like the very beginning, right after I was diagnosed. So I'll be giving a little bit of context for each, and I can kind of go over how I was feeling at each appointment that I may or may not have talked about in the clips. So without further ado, the first clip that I am going to show you is from my very first MD Anderson appointment. Now at this point, I have already received my diagnosis and I've already been to the very first breast surgeon that I talked to. So before this first clip, I have already gone and seen my very first breast surgeon. I have done a little, what is it called? I've done a biopsy on one of my lymph nodes, just a needle aspiration biopsy in the office. And I've done my genetic testing, and I have also done at this point, what else did I have to do? I think that was actually it, just the genetic testing. Also, Cleo's down here if you see her. So I already know at this point that I'm BRCA negative, and I know that I'm stage 1. I know I'm ER/PR positive, HER2 negative, and I have not had a mammogram at this point, but I have had the ultrasound and the core needle biopsy. So my very first week at MD Anderson was absolutely draining. It was like every day I was going in for some kind of testing, some kind of appointment with some new doctor. And this very first one, I went and got a mammogram and I believe another ultrasound because they just wanted to double check everything. And then I went and spoke to my surgeon, my breast surgeon, my oncologist, and my radiation provider. So that is context for this. And remember, this is all happening during COVID. So this was sometime in, I believe, September of 2020. So COVID is raging rampant and I am alone in the hospital. No one could go with me to any of my appointments. Only the very, very first one I had right after my diagnosis, one person was allowed with me, and it was my mom. So yeah, here's the first clip.
Treatment day 1. Today I get a ultrasound and a mammogram, maybe another biopsy, CT scan, stuff like that. This place is like empty. I'm feeling nervous, but not as nervous as I thought I'd be. I don't know, I kind of want to document this, I think. I guess we'll see how everything goes. I wish that I didn't have to sit in here alone because of COVID, but whatever. Okay. Okay, so now I am in the doctor's office waiting to talk to my team of doctors. I'm meeting with my breast surgeon, oncologist, and radiation provider, and we're going to be talking about my treatment. And I can't have anyone here with me, so it's just an empty chair, just me and my binder and my list of questions and my pen. I'm going to FaceTime in my boyfriend to help support me and listen for me in case I start shutting down. But yeah, this is not fun having to do this alone. My mom is on standby too. I just got my arms measured for lymphedema, I think, to make sure that if that ever becomes a problem in the future, that they have measurements to go off of I guess how it was before. I'm really nervous. I got a mammogram yesterday and another ultrasound. So yeah, I'm relieved that I will finally have answers after today and know what my plan of action is, and I can tell people and I can start preparing for it and, get help. But I don't know. I'm still worried that they're gonna come at me with something that I wasn't expecting and I'm gonna have to make a really tough decision or something, I guess. I don't know. I really don't want a mastectomy. I really just want a lumpectomy with radiation, but I don't know if that's gonna be an option. I don't know. I'm just gonna hear what they have to say though. And it's not like I'm gonna say, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have to decide today, but I guess I'll just tell them my concerns about everything and see what they have to say. Yeah. I'm really grateful for anyone and everyone who's kept me in their thoughts. That's kind of keeping me going, thinking about that. I feel just really strange right now, but I am happy that I will have answers after today, so.
This next clip you're gonna see is just a little snippet, and I look very upset because I was going to get my MRI. So this was again part of the preliminary testing, there we go, where they did a breast MRI. They looked at both my breasts to make sure there was no other like cancer in the other one, and to make sure that what we were looking at in the one that they had diagnosed, having seen the tumor, we were making sure that it wasn't anything we weren't already aware of, basically. So context for this MRI, I was like probably the last scheduled MRI patient for that day. It was like my appointment wasn't until the evening, and I was there until 11 p.m. I think I didn't wind up getting into the machine till like 10 or 11, but my appointment, I want to say, was at like 9. It was something ridiculous. It was crazy. But I was terrified. I have never had an MRI. I have never wanted to do anything like that. I'm pretty claustrophobic, and I was just really nervous about it. Having come out on the other side, it was totally fine. I was fine. It was honestly just like some intense raging techno concert in my ears. It was just really loud, and there were a couple of points where I was seriously considering how anyone managed to stay sane during these tests, because it's just like the same sound over and over again. It was quite obnoxious. It was more annoying than scary, but I was freaking out so badly before my MRI that I was trying to basically bargain my way out of it. I was talking to the nurse. I was so scared. I was like sobbing hysterically. I again had to be alone during this whole thing. Like, couldn't even have anyone go in to wait with me. So I was just crying, freaking out. And my nurse, I loved this nurse. She felt so bad for me probably, but she was so sweet and she took really good care of me, and she was honestly just like motivating me, telling me, that I didn't need to be scared, that it was all gonna be fine. And she literally just like stuck a little patch of like lavender on my robe, which you'll see, but yeah, on my hospital gown, there's like a little patch of lavender that I could smell, and it actually did help calm me down. I probably should have taken some kind of anti-anxiety medication before I went in because I was freaking out, but that's the clip you're about to see. So if you're worried about your MRI or you have to get one soon, it's really not that bad. You can do it. I have a huge phobia of these kinds of things, and I was okay. I was freaking out before, but it really wasn't that bad. It's more monotonous and annoying than anything, and loud. So if you can have earplugs, that would be nice. They didn't offer me anything like that, but yeah, you can get through it. It'll be okay. Okay, some context for this next clip is I went and I had a special appointment with an onco fertility specialist at MD Anderson, and we talked about basically my fertility options. And we also talked about the potential risk of doing things like chemotherapy, mostly chemotherapy. And if I did have to go through chemotherapy, which obviously I did not, what I would need to do to make sure to preserve my fertility. And what they told me was they recommended something called a egg retrieval procedure. So I had to learn all about that. Even though I didn't wind up going through with it, I do know quite a lot about that. So if you have questions about that, you can always ask me and I can give you any wisdom. I have packets from MD Anderson, obviously still, that I could, give you information from if that's something that you want to know more about. But that was also like a reason why I didn't do chemotherapy, was I would have to go through another like surgery type procedure, where it's not really surgery, but it's a procedure to preserve my eggs. But this appointment, I had to get a vaginal ultrasound, and they looked at basically my fertility. They looked at my ovaries. They saw how fertile I was, like whether or not I had good fertility. And if I did, then that was obviously going to affect my decision to preserve it or not. So that's what this next clip is about. And you hear me say something along the lines of, I think, making decisions that I shouldn't have to be making. And that was something that was really running through my mind this entire time. I'm so sorry for Cleo's meowing down there. She's upset that I'm not paying her attention. But yeah, I just was really upset. I remember in the very beginning, during this whole procedure and like this whole time of my life, that I was having to make these really difficult decisions at 22, and it just felt so unfair. I remember crying about that a lot in the beginning and being really angry. I felt like it was so unfair. I had kind of the mindset of like, why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Like, how could this be happening to me? Why is everyone else my age just going about their life like nothing's wrong, and I'm sitting here having to decide whether or not I want to have kids when I, don't even know if I'm going to want that in a few years. Like, but then if I go through this like whole procedure, like that's a lot of money.
Right now I'm in the gynecology office. I am here to talk to a fertility specialist, and this is all just kind of in case I have chemo, because it can, give you the chance of becoming infertile. So I'm meeting with the gynecologic oncology center to talk about, I guess, kind of my options when it comes to preserving my eggs in case I want to have kids after all of this. I just had a ultrasound, and I was laying there on the bed thinking, do I really want kids? Is this really worth it? Whatever I'm about to go through, if I want kids, is it worth it? I don't know. The whole thing that sucks about cancer at 22, I think, is the fact that it feels like a lot of things are taken away from you before you've had time to even think about them. Like, I've always assumed I want children and I want kids, but it's not like I had to make a decision until now. So yeah, trucking along.
Okay, so this next clip is the one that I think needs the most context, because one, I'm really out of it because I just got out of surgery. So the reason I'm like taking long pauses and kind of acting strange is because I'm very much still on pain medication. This was literally the night after I had surgery, or the day of. Like, I had surgery during the day, and then later that night is when I filmed this clip. So yeah, I'm a little bit out of it, to say the least. But I also want to say that in this video, I am very obviously aggravated because, one, that's probably just how I was responding to the medication and like coming out of the anesthesia. Some people get emotional. I think I was just kind of aggravated and like angry. But I did have a pretty bad experience at MD Anderson only for this little part of my treatment. Like, this one section, like surrounding surgery itself, like just the logistics of surgery was very like stressful. And I had been stressed since the day before, because the day before was when we were trying to figure out everything, and also some other stuff happened with like people not scheduling things when they were supposed to, and then my team not catching it until it was too late. So I do talk quite a bit in this video about like my experience, like my negative experience with like a specific nurse after surgery, and then also with, like I said, the logistics of my surgery. But my actual surgery itself and all of my care at MD Anderson, save for like this span of like 24 hours with like staff, has been phenomenal. Like, I love MD Anderson. I love my surgery. My surgery went amazing. It went perfectly. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I'm healing very well. You can see the scar that I have. Like, it's healing very nicely. I'm completely happy with how everything went. I was also kind of a special case because I was supposed to be outpatient. I was supposed to go home that same day, but I didn't because of reasons I talk about in the video. But I did experience like a lot of issues waking up and coming out of anesthesia. So that's why it took me so long to get up to that other room, and why I was in that holding area, and probably why the cardiologist went home, probably why there's only like 1 or 2 nurses with me, because it took me like 4 or 5 hours to like fully wake up from the anesthesia, which is a long time. I think it's because my body was just exhausted. I had just gone through so much like the last few weeks, and then being put under in the surgery, I think I was just exhausted. So it's fine. But yeah, we had issues with scheduling. Like, I was supposed to apparently get my magnetic seed the day before surgery. They messed it up and scheduled it for the day of, and then it was too late by the time they realized it. So they just had me come in super early the morning of my surgery, but then they couldn't get me back to surgery until the afternoon because someone was already scheduled for the morning time. So I had a lot of waiting where I wasn't allowed to eat anything, drink anything. We had issues with being told different things by different people. Like, I was told I was going to have a transport team take me from one area of the hospital to the other. And I do talk about there's like a long stretch that I walked, and there was an option to get on a like little golf cart type thing that I could have taken to surgery, but I just didn't, because I didn't think it would be that bad of a walk, and it was. So that's kind of on me too. I should have just like hopped on the thing and ridden it to where I was going, but I walked instead. But, you know, I probably should have had a transport team, and the doctors seemed to think so too, but that one specific doctor in the other area told me that I wasn't allowed to have one, basically. So it was just a lot of miscommunication, a lot of like scheduling stuff, and like getting from point A to point B errors, but actual surgery was fine. The rest of my nurses, like that night I was in the hospital, it was amazing. The next morning when I went home, cardiologist was great, nurses were all phenomenal, no issues. So this is not anything bad on MD Anderson. This was just Madisen coming out of anesthesia, being really tired and confused, and kind of ranting about my experience, which I had a right to rant about. I thought about like reaching out to higher ups about it all, but I didn't. It was fine. It's all over. I'm okay, but that's just context for this. Excuse any like language. I think I have a little bit of strong language at some points, not in any like angry way, but again, I just was very not coherent at this point, so I edited some stuff out, but I definitely was very comfortable filming this and not thinking about how my words were what I was saying. Basically, I was just talking. So
I am now magnetized. There is a magnetized seed in my body. My hair is going wild, but I don't care enough to fix it. I have a mammogram, and then I'm going to the main building for surgery. Sick. Okay, so, I had surgery today. Dude, I'm like lightheaded now. I had this breathing exercise thing that I had to do so I don't get pneumonia. That wasn't fun. My throat hurts. Ow. Hold on. I need soup. Anyway, I had surgery today. Wearing my little surgical bra afterwards. I had a lumpectomy. They only made 1 incision. I had 5 lymph nodes removed. I was super anxious all day, so my heart rate was like anywhere from 120 to apparently like 150. And I literally can't hold my phone because one, this arm is like out because that's the side they did surgery on, and then this one's out because I have an arm, what's it called? Blood pressure cuff, this thing for the thing, an IV. I have where I had the IV from earlier. Ridiculous. I can't, like, move anything. I can't, like, grab anything. Anyway, or hold anything properly. My heart rate was in anywhere from 120 to 150, and apparently it was even like 150 while they were doing the surgery when I was under anesthesia. So they were super concerned and like kept hooking me up to an EKG. Like they did an EKG after surgery, and like we're just basically like, why is it so high? But the thing is, like, everything was normal. I don't have any, like, nothing's wrong with me except for my heart rate is just high. And I kept telling them, I'm like, I'm panicking. I'm having an anxiety attack. It is panic. Like, I get that it's concerning that it was still doing it when I was under anesthesia, but still, like, I also haven't eaten since midnight the night before. I can't count. I haven't, I slept 1 hour last night because I was so nervous about surgery. I had to go and get here to MD Anderson at 7 a.m. for a seed placement. And then I had surgery not until 1:15. So I had been up since 5:30 and didn't even go into surgery until 1, having not eaten. I can't drink water. I'm fucking dehydrated. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. I'm weak. Like, I'm anxiety ridden, freaking out. And like, they were like, yeah, everything else is good, but your heart rate's just like super high. And like, apparently a cardiologist was supposed to come see me, and they never did. I don't know if they were busy. I don't know if they left early. I don't know if they just didn't give a fuck. And they were like, I'll just do it tomorrow. But I was supposed to go home today. I was supposed to have surgery today and go home today. And I was like, they had me all packed up and ready to go. And then they're like, well, the cardiologist hasn't come down here. And mind you, this entire time, I'm like dozing and sleeping because I just got woken up from anesthesia and I'm exhausted and whatever. I could go into such a long rant about everything that just happened. I guess I'll just rant now. And also, basically, so I was in like that post-op holding room where it's like this tiny little bed that you're, you know, supposed to get out of within like 2 hours, and my surgery ended at like 4:30. I didn't fucking leave that room until like 9. My nurse kept disappearing. Like, I would call for her. I didn't even, like, at one point I don't even think I had a call button. And if I did, I had no idea where it was. She didn't show me. She didn't tell me. She kept disappearing. I had to keep calling her because, like, I can't move my body, and I was super, super weak. And at this point, my pain was getting really bad and, like, really quickly. And she was like, oh, I have this, like, something. And my painkiller I'm supposed to be taking is, like, tramadol. And I know, because I took it like around surgery time, I know that tramadol doesn't fuck with me, so I wanted to keep taking the medication that was prescribed me. She said, oh, like, I can't give you that until you get up to like the room where you'll be staying, because you have to stay overnight, but I can give you this like morphine thing. And I was like, I don't want that. I just want the tramadol. It's like anyway, she was a horrible nurse, and I never say that about any nurse. Like, I'm still grateful for what she did, but holy crap, she was bad. She made me feel so uncomfortable. My pain got out of control, and she, like, you know, they ordered me food, and then she was like, okay, like, we're about to go up, like, any minute. Like, do you want your food now, or you just want to wait till we go up there? And also I had to pee. She's like, okay, do you want to just wait until we go up there? She brought me a bedpan, but I was like, I could not use the bedpan. My body, everything in my body was just like, nope, this isn't correct. This isn't right. Don't pee, don't pee, don't pee. And I was like, sick, and I kept trying to pee, but it was very difficult, and I barely peed. So she's like, yeah, we're just gonna go up there any minute. So I was just like, okay, 1 more minute, I'll wait. I waited for so long. My food was just sitting there. I haven't eaten. She kept like not bringing me, or like she'd bring me water, but then she'd like take it away and move it to the table completely on the opposite end of the room. I cannot move. I could not get up without getting super dizzy. I need to stop ranting about it. But anyway, so that was how that all went. Finally, I got to this room. Supposed to see a cardiologist tomorrow, and he's literally gonna look at me and be like, you're fine, go. And be like, you could have done that yesterday. I mean, I'm glad they kept me just in case, I don't know, something goes wrong, or maybe something is weird and wrong. They took blood from me too, apparently. They tested me for like thyroid problems, which I thought I had hyperthyroidism, but they said the levels were normal. So, yeah, MD Anderson is supposed to be like the best hospital in the world and whatever. And like, parts of it are great. My surgeons are great. Like most of my nurses are great, but like, holy crap, some of the staff, like I got told to go to the wrong elevator today for my surgery. And I also was told that I was going to be transported after my seed placement, which means like people would come get me and I guess like take me on a stretcher or whatever. Okay, this is so hard to hold right now. And that wasn't true. They were like, yeah, no one's gonna transport you, like you don't need that. So I walked to the fucking surgery check-in, which like theoretically could have done, but after being so anxious from having a seed placement, and the walk to the other building is like a mile long, and I haven't eaten because I have surgery. I haven't drank anything because I have surgery. I'm watching my heart rate on the monitor just like go up. But yeah, the surgery itself was probably a good experience because like, you know, my surgeons are great, but like the logistics of my visits and appointments here are just bad. Bad planning, bad staff, bad schedulers, bad communication. Like I don't understand. A lot of my nurses have been really nice though, and especially the ones over here. But yeah, I was like in that little holding room by myself with like one nurse for like so long. But hopefully I get to go home tomorrow and hopefully nothing's wrong. My heart rate is now down to like 70. It's like fluctuating between like 70s and 80s, which is like normal. And guess what? It's because I ate and had water. Oh, also my pee is bright Smurf blue from the dye they injected into my area. So that's pretty cool. From like my up here area. We'll make it through.
So those were all the clips that I have, save for one that I'm actually going to upload in a different video where I filmed after I had just like found out about my oncotype score and I'm kind of talking about it. So that'll be in a different video. But those were all the clips that I had from my very beginning of treatment and kind of the initial appointments through surgery time. I want to give a little bit of background about how I was feeling at this point because you can't tell because I don't explicitly say it, or maybe you can tell, I don't know. But I was very, I was like a robot. I was in survival mode. I was going from appointment to appointment, and all I knew was the next time of my next appointment. And at the same time, trying to make really difficult decisions about what kind of surgery I wanted, you know, trying to remember all of the information about surgery, about radiation, worrying about what my oncotype score would be, understanding what I would have to do, and planning for if I were to go through chemo, having to plan for that, like talking already to fertility specialists and stuff like that. But yeah, I was in survival mode and I was really not okay. I was mentally drained, physically drained, emotionally exhausted, emotionally confused. I was very angry a lot of the time. I was very depressed a lot of the time, very sad, very scared, terrified actually. Scared doesn't even do it justice. I was terrified. And I feel like I haven't talked about that enough on this channel, just how traumatic it all was, because I don't want anyone to come onto these videos and see me and think, oh, she's just like fine, she's just doing this all, because no, I was not doing well. And even right now, you know, I'm still processing it all and I'm still getting over it. And it's actually really interesting because you hear a lot about people talking about getting good at being a cancer patient, and then once they're done with treatment, they feel really empty and they feel confused and lonely and like they don't know what to do next. And that's very true. And I didn't believe that I would ever feel like that because I thought, well, once I'm done with treatment, like I'm going to be so glad that I'm done with treatment. Honestly, I miss MD Anderson. I have realized that I actually miss going to MD Anderson, and not because I miss treatment, of course not, but like being in that space and like my doctors, like I think it's just, you know, part of the trauma. And I know I'm not the only one who experiences this. And my friend pointed out that It was probably the feeling of people taking care of me and knowing that they understood my situation. They were all sympathetic to my situation. I didn't have to explain anything. They all already knew. I think maybe that's why, but none of this has been easy. This part isn't easy either. Even after treatment, it's not a walk in the park. So if you have recently been diagnosed and you have come across this video, I want you to know that it is really scary and everything you're feeling is valid. Anything you're feeling is valid. If you are having trouble processing your emotions and you're trying to put it off, I understand. That's okay. You're in survival mode. I will say that eventually it's going to come back. You're going to have to deal with it at some point. So just make sure that you have adequate emotional support, a therapist, a social worker, a close family member, a close friend, someone to talk to about these things. Support groups are amazing resources, people who know and understand what you're going through, especially if you're a young adult cancer survivor. I would really encourage you to look into your hospital and see what they offer for young adult cancer survivors. There's a few websites that I'll link down below that are great resources, things like Elephant and Tea, or Elephants and Tea? I don't know. Lacuna Loft. I will definitely link those down below, because making sure that you are part of like a community who understands what you're going through is vitally important to getting through it, because whatever you're feeling, someone else going through cancer has felt. And it's really easy to look around you and see everyone else living their life and feeling normal and feeling weird things like jealousy, but also like feeling a lot of happiness for them and a lot of sadness for yourself. It's okay to feel pity for yourself. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay if you are doing things to distract yourself. Like I played a lot of video games after I found out. I played a lot of Animal Crossing. I've been reading a lot lately. That's kind of been my escape. And it's okay to healthily distract yourself with things that make it easier to get through the days. But just make sure that you have a support system for when you are feeling the hard feelings, or even when you are ready to start feeling the hard feelings. But yeah, those are clips from my beginning phase of treatment. I just wanted to put those up because I filmed them thinking that I might, eventually have a YouTube channel or something where I wanted to document them and have other people see them and kind of just remember what it was like, because it did bring back a lot of memories, especially that MRI appointment. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your support as always. If you want to follow my blog, it is momentswithmadisen.com. I'll have it linked down below, along with the support groups that I talked about today. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully I'll be getting some more content up soon. And yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, share with friends, share with family. If you are in a support group and you know other cancer survivors going through similar things, feel free to share my videos with them. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content from me, and there's a little notification bell. You can be notified when I upload new videos. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.